everybody, welcome back to LaineyPlays. Thanks for checking out my channel. And today we're going to be doing the first speed build of the channel. And this is the build that I actually used from the Orphanage Let's Play. I released a video for that on Friday. If you haven't seen it, you can go check it out. Just got the introduction up. The first episode should be out on Friday. And this build didn't take me too long. It only took me about an hour and a half to make this. And I wanted this to be big because the woman who owns the orphanage in the challenge is supposed to be getting funding to make this orphanage for the kids, but she's sort of wasting it all on things that don't matter. Like her lifetime aspiration is mansion baron, so she wants this big orphanage, but she spends all her money on the exterior and the parts of it that are hers. And so then we end up with not a great environment for the kids. But that's all right. So this is just supposed to look very big and grand from the outside. I wanted it to have lots of plants and balconies and stuff. That's why I built those 4 little areas for balconies. And here I'm just doing the roof. I'm just really simple. I don't do a lot of advanced roofing stuff. I know Hatsy, who does really nice builds. You should go check out her channel. Inspires me a lot. And she can do some amazing things with roofing that I just have not learned how to do yet. So real simple roofs there. And we're only going to have 3 balconies because, 4 would just be too many. And also asymmetry is really nice and pleasing. And here I was just trying to see if I could, because I love the wrought iron little fence. I wanted to see if I could make it taller, like put it on top of a half wall, but it wouldn't let me, so I just had to settle for 2 half walls and a fence. Compromise. That's what this is all about. And I wanted to make it sort of look dark, because even though this is supposed to be like a nice, wealthy looking orphanage that's great for the kids, the woman who's running it's running it for the wrong reasons, so that I wanted that to kind of show through in the exterior, making it kind of just dark and sinister. No, not sinister, but it's not painted pink with roses. So yeah. And I like the little stairs leading up, and then it took me forever here to pick what exactly I wanted, because there's no easy way to make it match the stairs. I just wanted it to match the stairs, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm kind of indecisive when I'm doing these builds, and I can never, some people can look at those little thumbnails and be like, oh, that's exactly what I want. I have to see it on the screen in the place I want it to know if that's what's going to work for me or not. But that's all right, And then doors, I just wanted big doors, to add to the grand kind of atmosphere of the orphanage and how she wants it to be more a mansion than anything is what she's really looking for. And I didn't realize it until later, but that door is actually, it has built-in like scratches and it's made to look old. And I didn't realize that this is supposed to be a newer building, but it turned out looking kind of older, but I'm okay with that. And yeah, it's just supposed to be giving the illusion that it's a big, happy, wonderful place for these kids when it's really not. I was just adding some windows here. I think windows are really important because they give you a glimpse to the inside, so it can give houses either a very open feel or a very closed, private feel. And I wanted this to have like a false open feel. So the kids in this house stay upstairs, so I was adding a lot of windows to the downstairs because that's going to be the nice part of the house where the head woman usually stays. So I wanted to have a bunch of really nice windows because then it's, again, going to give that illusion that this is a nice place. I did add windows to the upstairs, though, just because I ended up wanting the exterior to look good. So the second story, though, so passerbys hopefully won't look up and see the despair of the children. Yeah. So I really like the windows that we got with the get-together pack. I actually mostly use those, and the reason being is because they're like the only ones with the black recolor. It just drives me nuts that some windows they have no practical recolors. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want a solid window that's not white, but that's not white with gold trim, or it's ridiculous. But that's all right. It's all right. Limitations bring out creativity, so that's good, I think. Maybe. And now that I'm actually watching this, I'm feeling like I'm regretting those windows on the second story. I feel like it would have looked a little better with the windows gone, because then it would have been like, whoa, why are there no windows on the second story? What's up with that house? And then people would have known that there was something going on. But that's okay. This build is available on the gallery, the Sims 4 gallery. So if you just go look up LaineyPlays on the gallery, you'll find it, and you can delete the windows if you end up downloading it, or you can keep them if you want to use it for something nice instead of sad. And then here I was just adding a fence, because fences, it makes it look nice and more complete, but it also makes it look really separate. And the fence is kind of there to keep the kids in. Like, the kids are not allowed to leave unless they're going to school. So the fence is there to, reinforce the idea that this is a closed area and people are not generally leaving. But, that's all right. The kids will be fine. We'll get them adopted. We'll work everything out. So again, I was just going through fence options. I wanted everything to look really cohesive in this build, which is sometimes hard in Sims 4 because there's a lot of different styled items, and so sometimes you're limited when you want things to look cohesive, but that's normal for building games. So I ended up picking that fence, which I think was also from the Get Together pack, and then I just wanted to add in some greenery. Adding plants to the exterior of houses really improves the look of the house. I think it gives it more of a blend into the background. So see the rest of the game in the background that we can't click on or edit. There's lots of trees, lots of stuff going on, and so if you don't put any of that on the lot, it makes it look really isolated. So I always try to add some trees, some plants to make everything kind of blend and look cohesive and smooth, so that this actually looks like part of the world and not an isolated block like it actually is. And that's okay. And I had a really hard time picking a tree because I wanted the tree inside the gate, but I couldn't get it inside the gate without it sticking into the house. So that was a little bit disappointing. But you get what you get and you don't get upset. That's what I teach students when I teach things. So gotta follow my own teachings, otherwise I'd be a hypocrite. And I wanted lots of greenery running up to the house to make it look really appealing. So like as you're walking up to the orphanage, you're like, oh, what a great place. This is so nice looking. And so no one is ever like, oh, this doesn't look like it's good for the kids. They're already brainwashed by the beautiful exterior. They're never going to question the motives of the owner. So yeah, and then I wanted to put lots of greenery in the fences, because if there's no greenery in the fences, then it looks really empty. It's kind of like, whoa, what are those fences for? What are they trying to keep in or out? But if you put a bunch of plants, they're like, oh, they're just trying to keep animals out of the plants, and then no one guesses your horrible motive. So yeah, and then I was just laying down this took forever. I wish they just had like a mass grouping of these little flowers that you could just place. So I went ahead and skipped most of it because I knew you guys didn't want to see that. So yeah, then I'm just editing the colors to make it cohesive and make everything look good. And then I wanted the roof to match the rest of the house and be kind of dark, but not too dark. Most of the roofing in this game, I either think it's just way too dark or it's just too light or not the right color. I guess I'm just really picky when I'm doing this. So I ended up going with the kind of grayish slat roof instead of the lighter one that it default came with. And here I was just matching the greenery. I want everything to match and look great, look beautiful. And the backyard is just supposed to kind of be deserted. I feel like in a nice orphanage there would have been playground equipment back here, but there's not. So I just put a bunch of like daisies, but they're like wild looking, kind of overgrown, just to make it look kind of deserted. There's not even like a door to the backyard from the house. There's actually no way to get here. I just realized there's no way for Sims to get inside there. I didn't put a gate. That's okay though, because no one's going to use that space. So it's just there to look deserted and mildly overgrown, because I don't think the owner of the orphanage can afford a gardener. She spent way too much money on the exterior, and now she just can't afford a gardener, so that's okay. But somehow these bushes magically stay trimmed, which is just excellent. That's an excellent feature. Magic trim bushes. In real life, I always see nicely trimmed bushes, and I get really sad. I'm like, oh, they hurt the bushes. Like, I want the bushes to be free to grow how they want to grow and what's natural for them. And so I get sad when I see nicely trimmed hedges in real life. It's a little silly, but I mean, it's ridiculous. People put these bushes so close to paths, and it's like, what are you doing? And then they're like, oh man, I'm gonna have to trim this all the time. And it's like, or you could have placed it slightly away from the path, and you know, it would have just made literally everything easier. But I think people enjoy, for some reason, bushes lining a path just absolutely with no extra space. Maybe the idea behind that is no grass to trim. But I think trimming bushes is more difficult than trimming grass. But let's get back to the build here. I was just decorating the balcony now. I wanted some benches to, again, make it look really nice, because this is the front of the building. So the front needs to look really nice, because no one who's going to be adopting kids is going to be looking at the back, really. And that's why the back is kind of neglected and overgrown, is because I didn't give myself an actual budget here, like a certain number of simoleons. But I like to imagine that the woman, when she was having this built for the orphanage, for her funding, she was on a budget. I like to imagine she was on a budget, and she just blew it all in the front of the house, because she's like, oh, everybody needs to see how great this is. But no one's going to see the back, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And then I added some floral ivy to the front, which I think looks a little off, but it just makes it pretty. I just wanted it to be pretty. I love this ivy. And I know some of you are probably thinking, why did I not use, oh, there, I think I used it, the move objects cheat. I just like to try to not use it, because if I use it too much, I forget that it's on, and I just place everything, and then I play test it, and then nothing works because everything's too close together or messed up or something. So, and then I switched to night mode so that I could add the lights. I wanted it to be bright, because light at night is good. And if it was so dark, people might be wondering, do people even live there? And we don't want anyone snooping around the orphanage and seeing the despair of the children. So I just used these old looking lights. Well, not old, but you know, they match the whole style of the rest of the house. And as you can see, the balconies in the back, you saw them for a second there, very empty compared to the front. So, but in the end, I think everything turned out really nice looking, and I'm really happy with the way I made it, even though I did definitely make this too big. I realized too late that I made it too big. It was actually when I was furnishing it. I was like, oh no, it's way too big. But I like that it takes up almost the entire lot, because it gives it kind of this imposing nature. And that's sort of what it is. It's imposing on the children's happiness. Yeah, it's just full of sad kids. So I think lots of yard space is a symbol of happiness. So we didn't have that here. So symbol of the despair of the children. And I know I talk about how sad these poor kids are, but once we get them adopted, they'll be so happy. And that's the point of the challenge, is to make the kids happy, give them a better life. So, you know, they have to start somewhere. They have to start here at this place, which is okay. So yeah, and then I was just doing the very last, the back balconies. I wanted to give them a little something. If you notice, this one has very minimal lighting. It's just those few little candles there, and that's it. So I like that the back is darker than the front. But not too dark, not so dark that it looks odd. Like I'm gonna add some lights over here to make it lit up, and I wanted to make variety in the lights, but I just felt like if I used different lights, it made it look not as together. So I wanted to use the same lights to keep everything in the same style. And you know, that's kind of it. Just changed up that last bit. And don't forget to check back on Friday for the first episode of the Orphanage Let's Play. Thanks for watching.